Hello? If anybody's out there listening now and they think they want to grow, man, there's websites, there's YouTube videos, how to grow properly. You want to grow 4 plants? Here's how to manage 4 plants. Now, don't go, getting your cart ready yet to hook up to the horse, because I don't think this bill's going to pass.
Okay, that's what we're going to close on, Russell. We're almost out of time with you, and that's really nice the way you brought that in. So we have this pending legislation. We've had some changes. We've had some people weighing in. Give me a quick timeline. It was supposed to be set up soon after the election, and then let's just say April 20th on 2016, right?
But notice the timeline. They could have started this right away, but they started it later, well into Trudeau's administration, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's a good chance, I've seen articles, there's a chance it's almost definitely going to be scuttled by the Senate. If it makes it to the Senate, because it might not pass the House, because they might prorogue. Now, there's not a big reason for them to prorogue because they have a majority. We can almost guarantee it's not going to get past the Senate, because the way the Conservatives were talking in the House of Commons about this, they make it sound like all hell's going to break loose. So we already know it's not going to pass the Senate. So what I suspect is going to happen is it'll go to the Senate. The Senate will send it back and say, well, we don't want, there's all these unconstitutional provisions about plants and the safety, and a bunch of crap will come back because it's Conservatives. They'll just pull something out of their butts. And then they'll give it back to, rather than giving actual cogent critiques,
I know.
They'll just go, oh, it's little Johnny might use the toaster oven, so you got to have a locked steel door on their thing, all kinds of stupid crap like that.
So we fast forwarding to the House. Go ahead.
It'll get sent back to the House. Trudeau and his minions will harumph about it, and then they'll not reintroduce it, and then they'll talk about it in the next election. Go, well, yeah, we tried to legalize pot. All these companies are getting their LP licenses. All this stuff's going on, man. We tried, and it got scuttled by the Senate. So re-elect me. I'm Mr. Fabulous. I'll put some of my people in the Senate. We'll have this bill through lickety-split in another year and a half or so. Let us finish the job, because, hey, if you vote for the Conservatives, all this thing we started might just fall apart. They say they're not going to take all the LPs down, but the Conservatives, you can't trust them. So it's going to be a blackmail election.
Half of that's true. Like, the Conservatives will tear it apart, right?
No, the Conservatives probably won't. That's just it.
You think they'll let it go through?
Well, no, not the legalization, but they're going to let the LPs keep growing, and they're going to let the ACMPR keep chugging away, because they don't want to do anything big one way or the other with that, because they saw how it blew up in Harper's face. So if they have any brain cells left, in the Tory party, you all right, Ange? If they have any brain cells left, they're going to just leave it and let it sort of keep going the way it's going. As for the legalization for recreational purposes, they'll never do that. And they'll campaign on no way we're doing that. No, absolutely not. Never.
So we're in a different place completely if and when this bill doesn't go through the way you say. So we'll be sitting there adrift.
Right. And we're screwed either way, because if the bill does go through, all the more reason to protest, because this bill, if it passes, is worse than what we have now. Because what we have now, the police have limited sort of jurisdiction to enforce. If they get this new bill, they have 45 different ways they can bust you. Now they only have 8.
Well, you knew they were going to get involved, because if you took an illegal substance and all of a sudden made it legal, spreadsheet-wise, Excel spreadsheet-wise, paperwork-wise, budgetarily speaking, you don't need that many police. You just don't.
You're right. So they've made up a whole thing where they're saying, well, we have all these new regulations. There's going to be more enforcement. And this is why municipalities and provinces are like, oh, my God, the federals are talking about legalizing pot, but who's going to pay for all this enforcement?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think that enforcement's actually going to happen.
Well, we'll have to see. We'll leave it right there, Russell.
All right.
Because give me the because. Okay, give me the because.
Because this is all going to fall apart in courts. Everything in Canada falls apart in the courts. And there are court cases that are pending that are going to keep chipping away at the CDSA. Eventually, that tower is going to fall, and the whole castle that we've been trying to siege will be ours.
And the lodestone there is still the Parker ruling of 2000.
The Parker ruling, exactly. That's the lodestone, exactly. And we've been chipping away, and they keep propping this tower up with sticks and other things, and we keep bombarding it. And one day we're going to get the big the big catapult, and the right case is going to happen, and the right ruling is going to come down, and that's just going to be it. They'll have no way to scramble and put it back together.
So since we're talking about 17 years there since the Parker ruling, give us your best encapsulation of it in 30 seconds, and we'll talk to you again.
Status quo for another 2.5 to 3 years. Hassles with the cops for another 15.
Oh, man, that's an ugly prediction.
Yep.
I agree with that, but I wanted you to just go back and encapsulate what the Parker ruling means that they keep
what the Parker
ignoring.
ruling means. The Parker ruling is simple. The judge ruled in 1999 that until such time as the government put forth a workable medical access program, the CDSA was null and void. It was of no force and effect as it pertains to cannabis, not all the drugs. But they can't just do this overnight. So the judge says, you got 1 year to sort this out. 1 year later, summer of 2000, the government gives us the MMAR. And they go, there's the medical access regulations. That means the prohibition stays in place, right? Everybody's happy? Right away, that was sued. And 10 court cases later, it's been ruled, the CDSA is still ruled unconstitutional. So as far as I am concerned, as far as many other people are concerned, and the way I live my life, pot is as legal as the air I'm breathing. It has not been regulated, and I can do whatever the hell I like.
Sounds good. That's a good place to leave it, Russell. Listen, we'll be back in touch with you again. I'm sure that the twists and turns of this saga are going to be pretty crazy as we get closer to either legalization or an admission that there won't be.
Prohibition 2.0.
Prohibition 2.0. At least when the booze came back into it, it came back into it, you know? There's another way you can't compare.
Well, it's funny because they're talking on the news. They're going, on one hand, well, we've got to protect Canadians from this substance. That's why we're regulating it. And then the next article 2 days later is, when pot's legal, there won't be anywhere near enough to go around because the demand is so high for this drug that Canadians demanded that we be protected from. Yeah. It's absurd. The whole thing is so freaking absurd, and this is what freaks me out and gets me so angry and typing things, horrible things at tweeting at the Prime Minister. So,
okay, well, I'm not going to be the reason you get arrested on this show because we're going to want to talk to you again later. So, Russell, thanks for being there. And,
thanks for having me.
Fighting the good fight. It's the angriest pothead in Canada, everybody. Russell Barth. Thanks a lot, Russell.
Hello?